to they're about to be reacting to completely wrong history facts everyone still believes. Now, I know one for sure. I'm not sure who out there still believe that Christopher Columbus was the first person to ever touch North America. But if you didn't know, now you know. Christopher Columbus was not the first person to touch America. It was the Native Americans and whoever else, whatever indigenous people lived here. But that's not about that. But it kind of is. But let's get straight to it. Yes, sir. If it'll play, holy Wi-Fi.
Take a look at this guy. What is he? What does he do
What is he? A YN. He's a YN. Let's see
for
it.
work? You fool. You buffoon. You probably said he's a ninja.
No, I said
Terrible.
he was a YN with a shiesty on.
Yes. He's
You know
actually
what? I should have said a ninja because he got a motherfucking. What's that thing called in his hand, bro? Y'all know what I'm talking about. A kunai. Boom, nigga. But y'all don't think I know shit? I know shit. I'm telling y'all.
assume nothing. Jokes aside, this was actually crazy to find out. Ninjas didn't wear all black. The all black suit with a little eye slit, the thing that is a ninja in your brain, is a theater costume. And the story of how it happened is
Really?
low key better than the myth.
So how did they get a ninja out of a theater costume? What did ninjas wear? Because it makes sense for a ninja to wear all black. They want to be discreet and all that. What did they wear?
Real ninjas were spies, and the second rule of being a spy is that you cannot dress like a cartoon burglar. The first rule is to say your last name before your first name and then your first name when introducing yourself. Walking around feudal Japan in a black bodysuit is the same energy as a modern spy wearing a shirt that says,
But who as a spy is just walking around in a ninja suit? You know what I'm saying? They creeping through the night in a ninja suit. Like that's what makes sense. Ain't no spy just walking around fully clothed. We know you a spy. Just like the YNs that walk around with the shiesty. A lot of them wear it for no reason. But 9 times out of 10, you're a menace to society and you need help. Word.
spy. Actual ninjas dressed as farmers, monks, merchants, and traveling performers. Their weapons were disguised as farm tools. The ideal ninja was a man that was so plain that you'd forget him while you're still looking at him. Like Tom Hanks. The black suit comes from stagehands. Stagehands
Yo, welcome to the
Whoa.
broke side of
What's
YouTube
that?
where we
I
get
just built a
ads.
budgeting app in Base
Eventually, we get
44.
an ad block.
Guys,
But for now,
Nina just built an app.
vibe.
Impossible.
in Japanese theater wore all black, and the audience collectively agreed to pretend they were invisible while they moved props around mid-scene. Everyone could see them, everyone ignored them. Then, some playwright had a cool idea. What if the assassin in the play was dressed as a stagehand? The audience filters him out. He's furniture. He's nothing. And then the furniture pulls a knife and kills the main character. Crowds lost their minds. It was such a good trick that the costume
Nah,
became the
first time
ninja.
seeing that is crazy. Like, what? Why did the background person just kill the main character? That would be hard, but hey, the plot done with now.
Permanently, everywhere, forever. So the iconic ninja suit is not stealth equipment. It's the uniform of a guy who moves couches between scenes. If you want night camouflage, by the way, the old manuals recommend dark blue because pure black leaves a U-shaped hole in the horizon.
So that does make sense, but you as even the military today, you think they just walking around in navy blue or dark blue, whatever color that is? You think they just walking around in nighttime with that? No, that's why I feel like that camouflage suit that the people in the army wear, it don't work unless you in somewhere like Saudi Arabia, somewhere in the desert or something like that. Because it's like, bro, it's like you stick out like a sore thumb. I might be wrong, but hey, bro.
So even the color's wrong. Now, knights. If you say picture a medieval knight, I picture a tin can of a man who
A night. Yeah.
falls over and just lies there, wiggling, waiting for his squire to come flip him back over like a turtle. That knight doesn't exist. Never did. Full plate armor weighed about 45 to 55 pounds, which sounds crippling until you learn a modern soldier carries more than that, and the soldier has all of it hanging off his shoulders, while the knight has it spread out over his whole body. Shoulders, chests, hips, legs, custom fitted. Researchers have put people in accurate replica armor and had them sprint, climb ladders, vault onto horses, roll on the ground, and pop right back up. There are accounts of knights doing cartwheels in full harness to show off. Cartwheels, which was completely unnecessary, and that's
Trying to
why
get
they
the
did it.
hoes. Hey, anything is necessary for the hoes. I am a married man, but I'm just saying. You want to get some bitches, do a cartwheel. That's what they, you know what I'm saying? These days, you got to have money. Right here, all you got to have is tinfoil and a cartwheel. You know how easy, you know how many hoes I had if I had tinfoil and a cartwheel? Come on, man.
Was it tiring? Sure. It's 50 pounds of steel and it's also a personal sauna. But these were professional athletes who trained in it from childhood. So the average knight could outrun you specifically. Yes, Alex, I'm talking
Me,
to you.
I'm not Alex, I'm Dose. He can't outrun me, man. Yeah, yeah. So me 100-yard dash. Ain't no old knight outrunning me. The police not even catching me. What are we talking about here, bro?
Average knight could outrun you, Alex. Hopefully
Yeah,
that'll jump
Alex.
scare
You
some people
talking to
named
Alex,
Alex.
whoever the fuck
And
Alex
while
is.
we're here, the swords. I'm imagining some 30-pound slab of iron that takes 2 men and a brayer to lift. A real medieval sword weighed about 3 pounds. That's a laptop. Even the giant two-handed ones rarely pass
But
7,
that makes
because a
sense
heavy
though.
sword
Who walking around with that heavy ass sword? You just asking to get slaughtered. Trying to walking around with a big stupid ass sword like off of Naruto, big stupid ass sword. When you can just walk around with a kunai. What are you talking about?
is a slow sword,
Damn, not a kunai. A kenyatta, a kenta, a katara. There you go, a katara. Yeah,
slow sword gets you killed. And medieval
exactly.
people were very motivated to not get killed. Armor actually got so good that swords stopped going through it, so knights
Mm.
would flip the sword around and club each other with the handle. Historians called that the murder stroke. Anyway, the clumsy knight is fiction. Next, the 300 Spartans. No, I have never talked about this exact point before, you're imagining things. Everyone knows the myth. 300 Spartans fought off 10 billion Persians. But there were never 300 men at Thermopylae. There were about 7,000. And they all had inconveniently spelled names.
3 billion men? Man, get the fuck out of here, bro. Ain't no three, three. Did he say 3 billion? I know I'm not tripping.
Spartans fought off 10 billion Persians.
10 billion. If you believe that you're smoking crack, 10 billion. I don't even think it's 10 billion people volunteering for the army. Not like they had a choice back then. But bro, man, this is stupid. This is something off a movie. This off a movie, bro.
But there were never 300 men at Thermopylae. There were about 7,000. And they all had inconveniently spelled names, like the Thespians, the Thebans, the Phocians, the Corinthians, a whole coalition of Greek city-states that you've never heard of, because none of them got a movie. The 300 were just Leonidas's personal royal guard. And even they didn't come
Oh,
alone. They
that's why
brought
that
Helot, who
movie
were
name is 300. Bro, somebody calling me, bro. Hold on. I need to stop
enslaved servants.
recording off my MacBook for sure. Hold on. Let me know. All right, back to it. I need to get a setup, y'all. When I get poor, I'm gonna get a setup so people
And
can stop
also
calling me
died and
and
got
interrupting my
mentioned
video.
exactly
I
nowhere.
get
All
irritated.
7,000 held the pass for 2 days. Then a local guy sold the Persians a path around the mountain and the position collapsed. About 1,500 men stayed for the last stand. The 300 Spartans, about 400 Thebans, and 700 Thespians. The Thespians are the part that gets me. Their tiny city sent basically every fighting man it had. All of them volunteered to stay, all of them died, and their reward is that you just heard their name for the first time in your life. The Spartans, meanwhile, had a legal obligation to never retreat. Dying was their whole brand. The Thespians had a choice. They stayed anyway. But the Spartans ran the best marketing operation in the ancient world, and 2,500 years later, it's still working. That's the entire reason
Wow, that's why that movie name is 300. And the famous saying, "This is Sparta." Whatever. That's where that comes from. If y'all didn't know, now you know. Yes, sir.
you know the wrong number. Anyway, next up, the Wild West. Not wild, genuinely one of the least wild things America has.
Man, speaking of the Wild West, I don't know about y'all, but growing up, I was at my grandma's house. She used to love Me TV. A lot of y'all probably don't know what Me TV is because y'all live in different parts of the world. Me TV, that's basically a channel for old people. We don't got cable, so it's a channel for old people. It ain't nothing but straight westerns on there. The West, the Wild Wild West, it looked wild, but that could have been all acting. It could have been all acting. What y'all know about Gunsmoke? Y'all don't know about that, bro.
Produced. The version in your head, daily shootouts, bodies in the street,
The Rifleman. I'm just speaking different languages on y'all right now. Y'all don't know that. I don't expect y'all to know that. But bro, the
Total
rifleman, what the hell just happened, bro? Oh, yeah, y'all.
I also kind of
Welcome
had
to
an
the broke
idea
side
that
of
I wanted to
YouTube where
push
we
them
get
on
ads and
a little
eventually
further
get
than
an
they've ever
ad
been
block.
pushed before
But for
to
now,
make
just
something
vibe
new.
out.
So
It
this,
look like they
the
about to
10,000
make
milliamp hour
content,
battery
bro.
that's already
As
this
far as my
small
day going.
is pretty clutch, but it's also pretty
Word, that's
loaded.
wonderful.
Built-in
Mine's going
braided
great too. I
USB.
just got off work, you know what I'm saying? Giving y'all great
the
content.
total lawlessness.
Back to it though.
It's fiction, and the records prove it. Historians have gone through the actual homicide rates for the famous frontier towns, and some of these places were logging 1 or 2 murders a year. Some years
One or
0.
two murders for a year. Nigga, the Midwest is wilder than the Wild Wild West. What are we talking about here? In Milwaukee alone, that's like quadrupling that in a year. What? More than quadruple, whatever.
0 murders. Pathetic. Your statistically most likely death on the frontier was disease. Also, the Wild West had gun control. Dodge City, the single most Wild West sounding place ever named, had a sign at the edge of town announcing that carrying firearms was strictly prohibited. You rode in, you handed your gun to the sheriff or the hotel like a coat check, and you got it back on the way out. Tombstone had the same law, and the gunfight at the OK Corral, the most famous shootout in American history, happened because these guys were trying to enforce it. Some cowboys refused to give up their guns. That's it. The defining moment of the Wild West was a weapons permit dispute.
I know my rights, partner. I know my rights. I don't got no good country accent, you know what I'm saying? But y'all get where I was going at. Fuck you,
It also
buddy.
lasted like 30 seconds and happened in a cramped side lot, not at high noon in the middle of the street. Real frontier violence was
Man,
ambushes
they just
and drunk.
lying. They trying to. Everybody want to come from something. They up there lying because they dying to diseases and shit. Wow, that's crazy.
And shooting each other over card games, usually somewhere in the back. However, the tumbleweeds were real. Credit where it's due. Anyway, next up,
Where are
Paul
tumbleweeds today? I know I don't live in an area with tumbleweeds, but when I do go down south or to the west, I don't see tumbleweeds. What are you talking about?
Revere never yelled the British are coming. There were 3 different reasons that this makes no sense. Reason 1, it was a covert mission. The countryside was full of British patrols, specifically hunting riders like him. Galloping through villages, screaming your secret at 1 a.m. isn't spycraft. He rode quietly and knocked on specific doors. 2, and this is the one that should have killed the myth. The colonists were British. It's 1775. The revolution hasn't started. Everyone he's warning is a British subject. Screaming, "The British are coming," would have gotten people to think that, yeah, we're British, go to bed. Yelling, "The British are coming" is like running through Boston.
The British are coming. The British are coming. How would y'all, you know what I'm saying? Did I ace that? The British are coming. The British are die coming. I think I had it right the first time, bro.
The Americans are almost here. Like, yeah, no
The
kidding.
Americans are almost here. I
What
don't
he
know.
actually said, by his
I
own
need to,
account, was
practice.
the regulars are coming out, meaning the army. Does not hit the same. 3, he didn't finish the ride. A British
He took a sip of water. The regulars are coming out. Die regulars are coming. Die regulars are coming out. Die regulars are coming out. I'ma get it, cuz. I'ma get it.
patrol caught him outside Lexington,
Cheerio.
questioned him,
Oh,
took his
yes,
horse, and let him
sir.
go.
My God,
They didn't
oh
even
my God,
arrest him
yeah.
properly, just took the horse. The
Cheerio.
warning got through anyway thanks to other riders, mainly Samuel Prescott, a young doctor who was only out of that hour because he'd been visiting his girlfriend. He jumped his horse over a stone wall to escape the same patrol and completed the mission. Prescott got nothing. No poem, no statue, presumably a very awkward explanation to the girlfriend, because 86 years later, in 1861, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow wrote a poem called Paul Revere's Ride. He invented most of it for drama, and the poem was so catchy it overwrote the historical record. The Dark Ages weren't dark.
Ooh, the Dark Ages. I watched Transformers. What was that? I know which one I'm talking about. The Last Night. Ooh, that make the Dark Ages look crazy. Even though all the Transformers are good, and the Transformers ain't got nothing to do with the Dark Knight. I mean the Dark Ages. But I heard about the Dark Ages. Not really too much. But let's see what he's talking about. Come on, man.
And the entire concept traces back to one guy's bad review. In the 1330s, an Italian poet named Petrarch, who was a Rome superfan, to a degree that concerned the people around him,
Rome! is civilization. Rome is order. Rome is power. And out here,
This nigga just threw a Rome edit in the middle of the video.
are Rome.
I'm speed this along.
Decided that everything after the fall of Rome was a decline, and
That's like, that's like us taking, like, not us. You know we all gonna die one day. That's like a virgin gonna sit there and write something about how these times are hard because you have to pay women to have intercourse with them, and women don't look his way, and women are evil because they don't give him a chance. He's really a nice guy. That's literally like somebody from 2000 from years and maybe even 100 years from now reading that and just saying, "Oh man, this was a time period when they weren't having any sex." Then how would you explain the birth rate and how you are alive? That don't even y'all get what I'm saying? It probably didn't make sense what I was saying. But basically, we shouldn't go off the opinion off of one person. And that's why it's called the Dark Ages because his glory days are over. That's like listening to a nigga in high school say, "Yeah, man, back then." No, he grown, but he speaking on his high school days. "Yeah, man, I had all the hoes, man. Man, high school was so lit, bro. I was star on the varsity team. But now life is so depressing because you lived your glory days. You peaked in high school, basically." So he basically said his peak of life was when the Rome was in charge. Then when the empire fell, "Oh, I got so depressed. I missed them." Like,
did the whole
what are you
era
talking about?
an age of
I just went
darkness.
on a little rant,
That's the
bro. Don't
origin.
mind me,
Wasn't
bro.
evidence, it was just kind of a vibe. One man posted a negative review of a millennium, and we kept it for 700 years. Here's what the dark, ignorant, mud-sitting Middle Ages actually produced. Universities. Oxford, invented in this period, still operating,
Oh yeah, this
still
the Dark
charging
Ages. This when school was happening and shit. Yep, these the Dark Ages. Cause why? We need school. It's essential, but all that college shit, bro. Yep, Dark
much.
Ages for sure.
Also,
I take everything
algebra.
back I
The
said.
word itself is Arabic. Flowing
Looking at this, the power, the pearl. I don't even know what kind of the Pythagorean theorem. I think that's what it is. Yeah, bro. This is Dark Ages for sure. I would have off myself too, bro.
to Europe, along with serious advances in medicine and optics.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Once you click this video,
No,
you'll be taken to
y'all, welcome to the Bro Side
uscca.com/maps.
YouTube, where we get
From
ads
here,
eventually.
you
I'm
can click
gonna
on
have
any
my
state
for now.
and get a complete
About
Eyeglasses, mechanical clocks, windmills, the heavy plow, crop rotation, all the lame, boring, world-changing stuff like that. And cathedrals, buildings so structurally ambitious that modern engineers still write papers on how medieval crews pulled them off with no computers, cranes, or safety
Nah,
equipment.
that's actually impressive. Look at these fine little details, bro.
And
My nose
position.
don't probably-
The Trojan
my
horse
nose
also
don't probably-
doesn't make much sense. Like, 10 years of war. 10. And the story goes, one morning the Greeks are just gone, and in their place is a giant wooden horse. And the Trojans, a city that survived a decades-long siege, look at this object and think, "Oh, free horse," and wheel it inside the walls. 10 years of war and zero suspicion about the enormous hollow enemy sculpture. Even ancient writers had questions. The alternate theories are all more believable, and one of them is genuinely funny. Theory 1. The horse was a siege engine, a ram or a wheeled tower, possibly draped in horse hides, and centuries of retelling turned
Imagine this the real Trojan horse, and they fell for this bullshit, bro.
hit the wall with a machine into something with a better hook. Theory 2, my favorite, earthquake. So Poseidon was the god of the sea, horses, and earthquakes. 3 obviously connected things that go hand in hand. So Poseidon's horse breached the walls of
This nigga
Troy
naked, bro.
may just be poetry for an earthquake cracked the walls and the Greeks walked in. And the archaeology mildly supports this. One of the destruction layers at the real Troy site shows earthquake damage in roughly the right area. Theory 3, Homer made it up because he was a poet, not a journalist. Worth knowing, the horse barely appears in the Iliad at all. The famous version comes from later poems. The most famous military trick in history is from
So
the
they teaching us this bullshit without doing their own research as a whole. This is why school is a scam. They teach you what they want you to learn. They don't teach you the shit that's really beneficial to you, like financial literacy and you know what I'm saying, how to take care of yourself when you graduate high school. Yep.
Universe. Troy was real, it burned, but the horse was probably fan fiction. Quick one. France used the guillotine until 1977, not 1877. The last person guillotined in France, a man named Hamida Jandubi,
I wonder why they stopped that.
was
I'm glad they stopped it, but what was like, oh, this is too evil and conniving. Kids should not be seeing this. Oh, nobody deserves that faith. What made them wake up and realize that? Please.
executed in September 1977. Star Wars was in theaters. There were people who watched Luke Skywalker blow up the Death Star and then went home to a country that still owned, maintained, and used a Revolution-era decapitation machine. It stayed the official method until France abolished the death penalty in 1981, which means the guillotine
1981? I'm thinking this back when the Pilgrims and they was doing witch hunts and all that shit. That's crazy, bro.
lived disco.
That's so recent.
Okay, next up,
Niggas was getting they head chopped off with that during the crack pandemic. What are we talking about?
the Pilgrims
I
did
was
not
just talking about the Pilgrims. I thought it ended with them. What are we talking about?
dress like that.
Or
The
Dark
black
Ages.
clothes, the white collars, and the buckles. Buckles on the shoes, the belt, the dog, the hat. A belt for your head, fastening nothing, holding nothing up. Nobody in human history has needed their hat cinched. Real pilgrims wore color, and we know, because their
But
will
nah, I seen a real pilgrim in real life. You know what I'm saying? They be walking on Glendale. They got their whole little own community. I swear to God, I seen a real pilgrim. So you telling me they just woke up and said one day, I think this is the right attire for a pilgrim, and then they just voted on it as a coalition? I don't think that happened, bro.
state inventories survive, and they're full of red waistcoats, green gowns, blue aprons, violet cloaks, normal 17th century English clothing, dyed with whatever the local plants could manage. Black dye was actually expensive and hard to keep looking black, so all black was special occasion wear, if you owned it at all. And buckles didn't even come into fashion until decades after the Mayflower. So who did this to them? Victorian painters. In the 1800s, America was assembling
Niggas
its
let a
founding with
painter dictate how they dress. Now, I'm thinking it's a religion thing. Because if it was a true religion thing or belief thing, then they would continue to do what they did from back then now. Just like Christianity with slavery. But that's a conversation for another day, bro. I'm just saying.
and artists wanted the pilgrims to read as humble, stern, and holy. And to Victorian eyes, that meant black clothes and severe silhouettes. So they painted the founders in a Halloween costume of themselves, the painters went into every school book, and we've been setting the Thanksgiving table for the costume ever since. Anyway, if you like this
That is crazy. But nah, I said what I said, and y'all heard what I said. So let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. Let me catch you niggas in the next one. Yes, sir.